There is a witch's coven on the internet making over $10,000 a month. Yeah, a witch's coven. People are actually paying every month to be part of this community on Skool. That's not the weirdest part. There is a Russian chess school, an ultimate frisbee community, a worship guitar group, communities around hair growth, kettlebells, marriage, real estate, and some incredibly specific problems, and they are making real money from them. Now, I don't want this video to be another look how much money people are making video, because honestly, that's not the most useful part. What I actually want to show you is that you might be thinking way too broadly about what you could build. You don't need to create a community, or you don't need to create the next huge online community. You don't need millions of followers. You don't even need to be the world's best expert at something. You just need to know something that a specific group of people wants to learn, improve, or talk about. So I want to show you 16 of these communities, because once you see them, you might start looking at your own skills a little differently. And if by the end of this you're thinking, wait, I could actually make a group around this, then I've done my job. Quick thing before we get into the list: if you do get an idea while watching this and you want to act on it, I will leave the Skool link in the description and pin comments so you can check it out and start building. Alright, let's get into the weird ones. First up, the Witch's Coven. This one is reportedly doing around $10,500 a month. Now, whether you're personally interested in that topic or not doesn't really matter. The important thing is that someone looked at this incredibly specific interest and said, there are enough people who care about this that I can build a community around it. And apparently, they were right. Then you've got the Russian chess school. Around $15,000 a month. Chess. Yeah, a subject that has existed forever, and yet someone found a specific audience, created a place for them to learn and interact, and turn that interest into a business. And there is the ultimate frisbee, right? Around $4,400 a month. Not sports, not even football, basketball, or tennis. Ultimate frisbee. And then there is the worship guitar mastery, right? About $4,000 a month. Again, not learn guitar lessons. It's specifically guitar for people who want to play worship music. And honestly, this is where I think the biggest lesson starts to show up. Because if you were sitting down today trying to come up with an online business, you might think, okay, I need to find a huge market. I need something millions of people are interested in. I need a broad topic so I can get more customers. And I actually think that's backwards. Look at these communities. They're specific, really specific. It's not hair care, it's afro hair growth, right? It's not just health, it's health equals looks. It's not general real estate, it's how to buy a home with bad credit. And that last one is especially interesting. A community around buying a home with bad credit reportedly makes around $217,000 a month. Now, obviously, don't look at that number, assume you can create a group tomorrow and make $200,000. These numbers can be estimates, and some communities are obviously going to be exceptional. That's not the point. The point is that somebody with a very specific problem can be better audience than a massive audience that doesn't really know what it wants. Think about it. If I tell you, join my real estate community, you might think, okay, what do I get from this? But if you have bad credit and desperately want to buy a home, and I show you a community called Buy a Home with a Bad Credit, okay, boom, you're probably going to pay attention, because it feels like that community was made for you, and that's exactly what you want. You don't necessarily want thousands of random people, right? You just, let me mute this video. You just want the right kind of niche. Now let's look at some of the bigger numbers, because this is where I want to put a little reality check in. Now you have the blue collar business, right? blue collar business school, right? Or blue collar business. Blue collar business is listed at around $900,000 a month. You can find the original website or just type blue collar biz, right? So yeah, as we said, blue collar business is listed at around $900,000 a month. And when I see a number like that, I'm skeptical too. These figures aren't something you should treat as guaranteed income. They can be estimates. And the biggest communities are obviously outliers. So don't watch this video and think, great, I'm going to make a 900 grand next month. That's not what we're doing here. That instead, look at the communities in the middle: marriage repair, painting society, kettlebell, strength, different audiences, different problems, different interests. But all of them have something in common. Someone took something they knew well and created a place for other people who cared about the same thing, right? And I think that's much more encouraging than seeing somebody with 10 million followers making money, because you don't need to be them. You can start much smaller. Let's say you're really good at photography, right? You don't necessarily need to build the world's biggest photography community. Maybe you build a group for people trying to get their first paid photography clients, or photographers specifically trying to improve their wedding photography, or photographers who want to learn how to basically, trying to improve their wedding photography, or want to learn how to shoot and edit real estate listings. Suddenly you have a specific person and you have specific problem you can help them solve. And maybe you're really good at Excel. Don't build an Excel community if that's too broad. Build something for small business owners who want to automate their financial reports in Excel. Maybe you're really into fitness. You don't have to build another generic fitness community. Maybe you know how to help busy dads train 3 times a week without spending 2 hours in the gym. That's a community. Maybe you're really good at finding freelance clients. You could create a group specifically for beginners trying to land their first 5 clients. See the difference? You're not trying to appeal to everyone. You're trying to become extremely useful to a certain type of person. And that's one of the biggest things I want you to take away from this video. You probably know something that other people would pay to learn. The problem is, because you've known it for a long time, it feels obvious to you, right? You think, who would pay me for that? But something being easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for everybody else. Maybe you spend 5 years learning something that somebody else has been trying to figure out for the last 6 months, right? To you, it feels normal. To them, it can be extremely valuable. And you don't have to position yourself as some guru either. You can literally build a community around learning together, right? You can say, like, I'm figuring this out. I've learned these things and I'm bringing other people together who are working on the same problem. That's a completely different mindset. And honestly, I think that's much healthier way to start. Don't obsess over creating a perfect community. Start with a small group of people who have the same problem. Help them, talk to them, see what questions they keep asking. Create resources around those questions, then improve the community as you go. That's how you find out whether there is actually something there. Because at the beginning, you don't need 100,000 members. You need 10 people who genuinely care. If those 10 people are getting value from being there, you have something. Then you get 20, then 50, then maybe 100. And eventually you've built something that can become a real business. That's much more realistic than sitting around for 6 months trying to come up with the perfect billion-dollar idea. So let's go back to the 16 communities for a second, which is chess, frisbee, worship guitar, hair growth, health, credit, marriage, painting, kettlebells, completely different worlds. And that's actually what makes this list so interesting. There is one magic niche, right? There isn't like one magic niche, There is no secret topic that makes school communities profitable. The opportunity is in finding the intersection between 3 things. Something you know, something people care about, is something where, like, where you can actually help them get a result. That's it. And if you can find those three things, you don't need to invent some crazy business model. You can start with a simple community. Teach, answer questions, share what you've learned, or bring people together and let the business develop from there. So if you've been thinking about starting a school group, but you've been telling yourself your idea is too small, I actually want you to reconsider that. Maybe small is exactly what makes it work. Because when you're specific, the right person can look at your community and immediately think, that's for me. And that's a powerful feeling. So here's your challenge. Don't try to come up with 10 ideas. Think of one thing you know well. Then ask yourself, who specifically would benefit from knowing this? And then make the audience even narrower. What problems are they trying to solve? What result do they want? What could I help them accomplish? That's where your community idea is hiding. And if you can't think of anything right now, that's okay, right? Look at what you've spent the last few years learning. Look at the questions people constantly ask you. Look at the thing your friends come to you for. Look at the problem you've already solved for yourself. There might be a community sitting like right there. So to recap, the lesson from these 16 communities isn't that you need to copy a witch's coven, start a chess school, or find some bizarre like niche. It's that you are probably underestimating how specific you can be. You don't need everyone. You need your people, and you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough to help the person who's a few steps behind you. If you want to start your own school, the link is in the description and pinned comment. But don't click it just because I told you to. First, think about what you could actually help people with. Then, if you've got an idea, go build the smallest version of it. Don't wait until the name is perfect. Don't wait until the logo is perfect. Don't wait until you've created 50 courses. Get a few people together, help them, listen to them, and build from there. Because after looking at 16 communities this specific, I think the bigger question isn't whether there is room for another community. It's whether you're willing to basically start yours. Alright, go build it. See you in the next one.